Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd family YouTube video, wherever you are, whatever you may be doing. Thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd family a part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. It's a Wednesday, so of course it's time for another weekly top 10 countdown. My man Eric has asked me to do another Halloween countdown, and I'm going to do that one next week. But I took a break from the Halloween countdown because my man Jordan messaged me right after I posted last Wednesday's top 10 countdown and said that me and my wife should do our top 10 favorite things to do in Pigeon Forge. Now, he said Pigeon Forge, but he may have meant Pigeon Forge or Gatlinburg. But since he said Pigeon Forge, we're just going to do Pigeon Forge. So these will be the top 10 things that we like to do in Pigeon Forge, and it's things that we have actually done, not, what we've heard, because, some folks may like something and you don't. Somebody else may not like something and you do. So you don't really know until you actually do it yourself. So these will be things that we've done and things that we like doing. So if we have any comments, we'll say them as we go along. So without further ado, this is Brandon and Grace's opinion of the top 10 best things to do in Pigeon Forge. What's number 10, Grace?
Number 10 is Jurassic Park boat ride.
Now, most of the things that's going to be on our countdown is going to be things that you can do as a family. Because, of course, if you got kids, you can't do everything. You have to do things that kids can do as well. But if you go and you don't have kids, or you leave your kids at home, there's probably more options for you to do. But the Jurassic boat ride, Grace and I both really enjoy, because it's really animated and animatronic. It just has a bunch of real looking dinosaurs throughout the ride, and the room is real dark. So it's supposed to make you feel like you're actually in a rainforest with all these dinosaurs. So if you have a good imagination, it can be kind of scary. But it's pretty cheap as far as price wise, and it is fun, and it's something that kids of all ages can do. Number 9 on the list, we wrote down the track, but the name has changed. It's actually now called Ripleys Super Fun Zone, I believe. And if you're coming into town on the Gatlinburg side, it's like as soon as you come into town on the right hand side. If you're leaving town going toward Gatlinburg, it's like the very last thing on town on the left. But we wrote it down because it's an arcade, but it also has go-kart tracks, and it also has kiddie rides. When our daughter was, I believe, 5, they have a little bitty go-kart that goes about 5 miles an hour that kids can ride for their first time driving a go-kart. And she rode that. But it also had rides that our twins, who at the time were not even 2, could ride. So it has things for everyone to do. And the arcade comes with it, so you can stay there for quite a long time and keep yourself occupied. What's number 8, Grace?
Patriot Park.
Now, we like this, but there really ain't a whole lot to this as far as activities. But we enjoy doing it because it's the big old huge field where the kids can go out there and just run around and be crazy. But if you go to the very back of it, right behind the Old Mill restaurant where the big waterfall is, they've got ducks and pigeons and geese, and you can stand there and feed them, and they'll come up to you and eat out of your hand. And our kids had a blast doing that. And it's free to park. It's free to go there.
Only $1.
The only thing you pay for, I think you pay $0.25 for a handful of food. So depending on how many kids you have and how much money you give them for the little food is all the money you're going to spend. So it's fun if you have kids. Now, if you're an adult, you may not get no kind of entertainment out of feeding ducks and geese, but kids enjoy doing it. And number 7 is Rockin' Raceway. Now, we enjoy doing this. It's an arcade, but they have tons and tons and tons of arcades there. But Rockin' Raceway is good because not only is it an arcade, but right directly beside it, it also has a go-kart track. And to me, they're the fastest go-karts in town.
They're fast.
The sign doesn't say they are, but to me, they're the fastest
fast.
go-karts in town. And Grace said that too, but it's one of the few go-kart tracks that's still just one level. Most of the ones now are the multi-level ones where you do a bunch of circles and then come back down a big old hill. But Rockin' Raceway is just one flat track. But those go-karts are fast. And number 6, what's number 6, baby?
Three Bears General Store.
Now
Brandon and Bella favorite.
we like to go there because it is a general store, but it's only a general store on the bottom level. But not only is the general store on the bottom level, you can buy hot sauce, you can buy anything and everything for your house. But it's also got a fudge shop you can sample fudge at. And an ice cream shop. But upstairs, it has an arcade, a place to go get a massage.
Bella's favorite.
Oh, yeah. You go feed the bears up there. It's got a Christmas shop back there. It also has a place for you to go take some of those old-timey, old-fashioned photos where you dress like people from the 50s. So it's got a little bit of everything inside of it. So if you go there and do everything, you can kill a couple of hours inside that store. But our daughter, Bella, she likes to feed the bears. I think you pay $3 to feed the bears. And then you have to pay an extra like $1.50 if you actually want to feed the bears, because you can pay just to go look at the bears. And that's, I think, $3. And then they give you a little bitty cup with chopped up apples and bananas and grapes if you want to feed the bears. So that's it. But it's got a lot of stuff in there. It's a small arcade, but if you have small kids, it's big enough for kids. Number 5 on the list, Grace and I both love this one. That's the Hollywood Wax Museum. I know it's called Hollywood, but it's not in Hollywood. But it's called that because of the fact that it has all the famous people from Hollywood.
It's really fun.
And if you've been before, you should always go back, because anytime somebody retires or anytime somebody dies, if they didn't already have them in the Wax Museum, they'll add them. So every time you go, there's going to be somebody new that's added. Now it is about $45, so it's kind of
expensive.
It's kind of pricey, but you can go in there. You can take your camera or your phone, whatever, take as many pictures as you want. You can sit down beside the person. There's one spot in there where they got a picture of Elvis, and Grace loves Elvis, so she wants to go stand beside Elvis and get a picture taken. And the people look so legit, real, that it makes you feel like you're standing beside the actual person. So it's really, really good. A lot of times it has artifacts about the person, different things about the person where you can read as you go. So it's very entertaining if you like to watch movies or any kind of sport, any kind of music, because more than likely that person's going to be inside there. What's number 4, baby?
Comedy Barn.
Oh, yeah. Now, the Comedy Barn is something for all ages. We used to make it a habit every time we'd go to Pigeon Forge, we'd go to the Comedy Barn. We haven't gone the past couple of times because it was kind of pricey, and we decided to be stingy and keep our money for something else. But it's one of the few shows that you go to that doesn't come with a meal. All the other shows, you pay for the ticket, and you pretty much pay for the meal because they bring your meal to you as you're sitting down. Now, the Comedy Barn, you can buy a meal because they've got things there to eat, but you have to pay extra for it. It doesn't come with your ticket.
It's not an actual meal. It's more of a snack stuff.
Yeah, they have basically, like you said, a ball game, hot dogs and nachos and chips and popcorn, things like that. But it's the last time we went, it was $47 a person, so it's probably $50 now. But it's good, clean, family comedy. So there's no foul language. There's nobody dressed up provocatively. There's no sign language that's bad. There's nothing about the show that's bad. And it comes with music and a lot of comedy. So if you like music or you like to laugh, then you should go to the Comedy Barn. And make sure you watch Eric Lambert. And if you talk to him, tell him that Brandon and Grace told you to watch Eric Lambert. He's the best part of the show. What's number 3, baby?
Riding go-karts.
Yeah, we wrote down riding go-karts, but Grace wanted to be specific and write down Laserport. Now, Laserport, if you're coming from the Sevierville side, it's almost right in the middle of town. On the right-hand side, going back toward Gatlinburg. It's got a big, huge man with a big, huge fist coming out of a wall. It's called Laserport because if you go inside, they got an ice cream shop and an arcade, and you can also play laser tag. But right outside of that is a go-kart track. And I didn't ride that day because I had to sit inside with the boys, but I let Grace and Bella run inside, and they had a blast. And it's one of the tracks I was saying a while ago. It's 3 stories. You ride all the way up. You get to the very, very top.
And you come down.
Got a big, huge hill, and you ride down, of course. And the speed you go is all up to you because me, I never used a brake. I stay wide open the entire time.
I live for it.
But Grace likes to use the brake, and of course Bella at her young age likes to use the brake. But me, I don't like brakes. So the day that Grace and Bella rode it, I didn't get to ride it, but I have ridden it before, many years ago, and it is fun. But I didn't want to say just laser pour to make y'all think we were talking about laser tag. We were talking about the go-kart track that's right there at Laserport. Mm-hmm. What's number 2, baby?
Number 2, Tanger Outlet.
Oh yeah. That's
my favorite.
You'll see by numbers 2 and number 1 that my wife likes to shop. But no matter where you're watching this video from, everybody has been to a Tanger Outlet at some time in your life.
I like Pigeon Forge.
every, not even big city, but an average size city has a Tanger Outlet. So imagine the Tanger Outlet you've been to and add about 500 stores to it, and that's the one in Pigeon Forge. It's actually Sevierville, but everybody calls it Pigeon Forge. But it's right there on the right as soon as you pass NASCAR Speed Zone racetrack. It's fun, but it's huge, and it's a lot of shopping. So every time we go, we always park right there in front of the Disney store. We don't buy anything at the Disney store, but that way we'll always know
the very first time we did
where our car is.
When Bella was little, we bought our baby doll
because it's so big. So every time we go now, we park at the Disney store. But I've never counted the stores, but I would say there's probably at least 1,000 stores inside of it.
Oh my gosh, seriously.
And it also has 2 restaurants that I can think of off the top of my head. And then it has a go-kart track right beside it. And then it has a fudge shop and an ice cream shop and a pretzel shop and a coffee shop on top of all the actual shops that they have. But we go just to walk around and exercise and look. But every once in a while we'll actually buy something.
Break the bank.
But we try not to go there much because the stuff is kind of expensive because it's a tourist town. So it's tourist town prices, but it really is fun. The first time we went, we thought, hey, we'll go to the Disney store and we'll buy Bella a doll. And we went in there, and it took us forever to find one that she wanted because she didn't like any of the Disney shows. But we finally found one that she wanted. But if you like to shop, that's the place you should go. They got hat stores, shoe stores. They got 3 or 4 just cologne stores. They got shirt stores, CD stores, anything, luggage stores, multiple luggage stores. Got a Subway inside of it. And it also has those little race car things you can buy and put your kids in. So if they get tired and don't want to walk, same thing you see at the mall, they got there. Mm-hmm. Now, this is the one that Grace is going to want to talk about. What's number 1, baby?
The island.
The island.
We love that. I love the island.
We both like the island, but the island's a cool place to go to because it is huge. It's just like Tanger Outlet. It has the stores inside of it, but it doesn't have quite as many stores as Tanger Outlet does. But what makes the island different is not only does it have the stores, but it also has an ice cream shop, and a fudge shop, and a chocolate shop, and a pretzel shop, and a Rice Krispie treat shop, and
so several candy stores.
I think I named all the candy stores that they have. Not to mention, it's got 3 restaurants inside of it. Got an arcade inside of it. Has the beautiful waterfall inside of it. Which, if you go at the right time, the waterfall is designed to go at the beat of the music. So every time the music changes, the waterfall changes colors. And right beside where the waterfall is, sometimes they have bluegrass bands out there singing, so you get a free concert as well. And it has shops. And the Pepper Palace is a good store if you like to eat hot stuff. But then at the very, very back of it, they have the bumper cars, and Grace and I love bumper cars. But they have rides that you can ride. That's where the big, huge Ferris wheel is. They call it the Island Wheel, but it's a regular Ferris wheel. But it has rides for adults and rides for kids. I think you can actually spend, I believe it's $60, and your kids can ride all day long. So it's something you can do and spend all day long. But then this past April, they opened up that ride called Sky Fly.
I loved it.
And that's the one that Grace likes. So not only does she like the island, she also likes Skyfly.
If you haven't done it, go do it.
And if you haven't watched our video yet of Skyfly, you need to go back and watch that video because we did do it. And I think we did a review of it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think we did. If not, we'll talk about it again. But you pay $22 for an adult. And it's just like if you've been to a theme park. It's just like riding a roller coaster. When you go inside, you've got to wait. You go in one room, you wait. You go in the next room, you wait. So be prepared
To wait.
But you pay $22, and when you get inside, they got three. I think they got a blue level, a green level, and what's the other color?
I can't remember.
There was 3 rows. Now we were in blue, I think, but they said all 3 rows are about the same thing.
Oh, well, green.
Green, blue, green, and what else?
Red.
Red. The actual ride itself is like 8 minutes long, but it feels longer than that, and it's definitely worth the money. It's one of those 3D things where you're sitting still. The only time you move is your chair goes from sitting like this to sitting like this. That's the only movement
I don't
you
even
do.
know if it's 3D. It's like a
But
7D
it's
or
so
something.
it's so realistic. You feel like you're moving, even though obviously you're not because you're traveling around the world in 8 minutes time. Well, that's impossible. So obviously you ain't moving. But you fly over the Grand Canyon, so the temperature all of a sudden gets hot, like you're actually at the Grand Canyon. And then you fly over Niagara Falls, so if you're in the right seat, you get a little water in your face, like you're actually flying over Niagara Falls. Mm-hmm. And then you fly over Bristol Motor Speedway, and you get so close, you can actually feel the heat off the racetrack, so it feels like you're in a race car on the racetrack.
It was well put together.
So
I loved it.
It's very well designed, very put together, and we had watched videos before we went talking about doing it, and I wanted Grace to do it, and I was actually able to talk her into doing it, and she did it, and I think she enjoyed it about as much as I did. Mm-hmm. She enjoyed it because it was so realistic. I enjoyed it because it was realistic, but it was also amazing to me that you can sit in one chair and go over like 10 states in that short amount of time, and the temperature changed based on whichever state you were in. To me, that's amazing how you sit in one chair and the temperature changes that much.
It's so realistic.
In that short amount of time.
I loved it.
So it's very, very fun. So you think $22 is high, but it's actually worth the price. Now, we paid more than that because they take your picture like any other ride does, and that's optional. But, of course, I was going to throw it away. Grace wanted
You're
to buy
not throwing my picture away.
And I think the picture was $25, I believe.
The picture was $20.
$20. Okay, so we spent $45 for 2 tickets plus for the picture. So we spent $65 there. But if you go to the island, unless you ride the rides, you don't spend any money unless you go inside one of the stores and buy something. Because walking around, we go walk around all the time and don't buy a diddly squat. We just like to feel the air off the actual waterfall, not the Skyfly waterfall, but the actual waterfall. And then we like to go in all those shops and sample the fudge and sample the popcorn and sample the ice cream. That way, we don't buy anything. So the island's a place you can go to spend money, or you can just go as a family and kill time and walk around, because the island itself is outside, but each store is inside. So if it starts raining, when you go inside one of the stores, you can stay inside the store
Just hang out
till the rain stops. And if it ain't raining, if the waterfall ain't crowded, you can go get you one of them rocking chairs and enjoy the cool breeze off that waterfall. And especially if the bands are singing, because the band starts singing about 8:30 at night. So if you go in the fall or the spring, it's done got dark, got that cool breeze and that band singing that waterfall. It's a good time to just sit there and relax and forget about everything except for being in Pigeon Forge.
Go at night.
So we like to go.
We normally go in the evening time and then, in the morning time and then back at night. Because I just love it at night.
Our ideal time would be at about 9 o'clock at night because they're open till 11. Mm-hmm. But if the kids ain't had no nap that day, then by 9 o'clock we want to walk and they're wanting to go to bed. But if they've had a nap and they're fine, we like to go at nighttime when it is dark, because it's pretty to walk around and see that waterfall when it's lit up, because it's blue for a minute, green for a minute, red for a minute, pink for a minute. So it really is something pretty to look at. Any final thoughts, baby?
Well, somebody might say we didn't say anything about food or restaurants, but to me that's not a...
Yeah, I thought about it, but when we were doing our countdown, I said, there ain't no point in putting restaurants on there.
You obviously know there's food at Pigeon Forge.
Because, it's fun. I personally think eating is fun, but if I'm thinking about, things to do that's fun, I'm not thinking about eating. It ain't real fun just to sit down and eat food. I mean, there's not really much excitement to that.
No.
Unless you're like me and you get a thrill out of eating, but not many people do that. So that's why we just had the countdown. It was just things to actually do, whether it be, a show or an activity, because that's actually something fun to do, not just sitting down. Now, if anybody asked me to do my top 10 restaurants in Pigeon Forge, then that'll be a separate video. But this was top 10 things to do. And food is just, it's just food. I mean, that's it. And I will give my man Eric an honorable mention for Cage Cove, because we did go there one time and I enjoyed it. But I figured a lot of people wouldn't enjoy it because it's pretty. Now, if you get out there and the animals are out there, that's great. But outside of that, it's good for a picnic, something like that, but there's not an actual lot of activities to do at Cage Cove. But I know my man Eric loves Cage Cove, so I wanted to make sure he knew that I was giving Cage Cove an honorable mention. So if you've been to Pigeon Forge and you've done any of these things, please feel free to let me know in the comments section. Grace and I would enjoy reading those comments. Most people have been to Pigeon Forge at least one time in your life, but every time you go, there's something that was there that ain't there anymore, and something that wasn't there 3 months ago that's there now. So if you ain't been in a while, please go back. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. Someone replaced all the buttons on the elevator, and it was wrong on so many levels. And that wraps it up for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video.
Funny.
Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.